stay-at-home dad, watching Disney movies he never had. His daughter digs through all the VHS, crushing the classics in a princess dress. Informed like Scuttle, Kurt's got your ticket, making it real like Jiminy Cricket. Most are off the Captain Hook, but if the Tweedledum, he'll be taking more shots than Bambi's mom. Leave him raised like Simba, or cracked like the beast dishes. He'll show you a whole new world, you won't need pre-wishes. Stay-at-home Disney dad.
This is my introduction to Doug, which is kind of ironic because it's Doug's first movie, so in a way it's like both of our first movies. I know nothing about these characters, so this is going to be a blast. First of all, I need to correct the VHS tape because it's not playing correctly. I have audio but no video, easy fix. I love this technology. We had no picture, I smoothed out the tape, and now we have picture. You can't unscratch a DVD, you can't uncorrupt a file, just saying. We press play. The ads were still chewed, the whole start of the tape was chewed, but it corrects itself in time for an ad for My Favorite Martian, available on video and DVD, but this next one is only available on VHS. Bell's Tales of Friendship, still need to find this. Hercules, Zero to Hero. What, there's like a Hercules 2? 2 in a row, 2 VHS tapes I've never seen. After the show, we get Doug's top 10 questions answered. I have like 1,000 questions about Doug, but maybe 990 of them will be answered during the movie. Doug was formatted to fit my TV, scrolling blue logo, a Jumbo Pictures production. Some kids are fishing and it's freezing outside. One looks like Frankenstein with green skin. We see Doug and another dude with green skin. His name is Skeeter. Doug and Skeeter talk shit to these other boys like, are you still trying to catch the lake monster? The fishing kids say they're gonna catch it sooner than later, and they all giggle and walk off, but as soon as they leave, bubbles come up from the lake. It was right there, they were so close. Doug and Skeeter hop off their bikes, go through the dark forest with flashlights for some reason. Deep in the forest, leather jacket wearing Frankenstein and his fishing buddies are getting into a giant monster costume to scare Doug and his friend, but it doesn't work. And after the scare fails, the real monster raises out of the water behind them and they all run away as Skeeter drops his camera and takes a picture by accident. Interesting. Now we get the title screen. Doug and his pork chop play the intro on an old-timey projector, which is probably a new projector at the time. We start. Doug is writing in his journal. He writes, he's seen a lot of strange things. I'll bet you have, Doug, like people with green and blue skin. He says, this, however, was the weirdest thing ever, and it started last week before the Valentine's Day dance. And then we flash back. So Doug has a crush on his best friend, and holy crap, the pacing of this movie is out of control. It's off the charts. It's like the X-Men cartoon from the 90s pacing, just 3 or 4 second scenes just slamming into each other, one after another, one after another. Doug has a daydream within his flashback where he and Patty are in like a war room together, that's his friend, and then she suddenly seductively crawls on her hands and knees over the desk to him. Like, that was a jarring visual for a kid's show. That was totally, how do you call you a lover boy body language. Now there's a guy with purple skin named Guy. He's hitting on Patty, but she's not having it. Patty signs up to volunteer for like Valentine's Day dance setup, so Doug does the same thing. Roger is the green-skinned leather jacket wearing bully. Someone tells him a rumor that Doug can control the lake monster and that's why it came after him. And he has a daydream within Doug's flashback where Doug gets the monster to grind him under his own boot. Skeeter realizes the camera went off when he dropped it and they're excited to see what's on the film when they get developed later on today. Kids watching in 2022 have no idea what any of that means. BB is a purple-skinned girl who has a crush on Doug, and he's like, I can't hang. Patty and I are helping with dance setup. And she goes, don't worry about it. Guy is helping Patty. And he's like, what? Oh, Guy took Doug's place on the committee. BB says, hey, Guy has more experience. Plus, my dad knows Guy. And her dad opens the car door, looks Doug dead in the eye, and goes, oh, I know Guy really good. Oh. They get the photos developed and they have a picture of the monster's foot. Doug has a daydream within his flashback where he's a superhero quail man and he gets Patty, but then the guy shows up and guy shows up and hypnotizes Patty to dance with him. Fortunately, patience is the first quality of a quail, proudly claims Doug. That was funny in a friend zone kind of way. He ends up battling like a Godzilla ripoff and beats him by making the giant lizard watch an episode of Beverly Hills 90210. Then Patty agrees to dance with him. Take that, Beverly Hills. Out of the flashback, Doug is like, okay, new plan. I'm going to find the monster and beat it because that's what gets girls to crawl across desks. Over to Roger. He wants his friends to build a robot to catch the monster. Doug and Skeeter think their bikes were stolen by the monster. Patty calls Doug and thanks him for ducking out of the dance set up committee so she can work with Guy. He's like, perfect. She hangs up, and now the bikes are back in their backyard, and there's monster tracks leading away from the bikes and into the house. So Skeeter and Doug think the lake monster brought the bikes back and then went inside the house. Now it's a horror movie, and they're sneaking through the dark with trash can lids and bats and brooms. This movie clips at an unreasonable pace, but it's really fun. Then the monster's actually there. He's in the house. Like, there's this giant blue reptile just lurking around in the basement. It's just there. They casually bump into it. It's not even like a big, it's just, there it is. The monster is a sad, lonely bumbler. The monster likes Skeeter and wants to read Moby Dick. I can't believe he tried to eat Herman Melville. That joke landed, but then they drag it longer than they should, and they name him Herman Melville, and it's not really funny anymore. And then he drinks out of the toilet. Now, when I was a kid, my cat would always drink out of the toilet, and I'd always ask my mom, why does a cat drink out of the toilet? And she would tell me, because the water is so cold. And still to this day, I'm like, how does my mom know that? Anyway, they're going to tell everyone about the monster, but for some reason they think reporter Mr. Bluff, who is that BB's weird dad in the car, is going to shut it down or like do something weird, like call the monster police. So instead they decide to have a press conference the next day. Doug tries to hide the monster in his house, and Porkchop, his dog, is going nuts and growling at it, and Doug's all on Porkchop's grill. But you know something, Doug? There's a fucking monster in your house. That's probably something your dog should growl at. Uh-oh, he was supposed to meet Patty at Swirly's ice cream shop, but he's late, so now to take a shortcut, he runs through the graveyard, and that's a bridge to nowhere. He gets there, but he's still too late. The man at the Swirly ice cream shop that has ice cream for hair is like, hey, she was here, and she was sad, but now she's gone. He comes to the dance prep committee place to see her, and he's like, I'm so sorry, Patty, I have good reason. I know showed our date, but I can't tell you. Classic excuse. Guys, like, take a hike, little kid. Oof. Doug walks backwards up the stairs for some reason when he leaves, and I go, hee hee, which is a great inside joke between my kids and I from long days of playing Super Castlevania 4, where you can make Simon go backwards up the stairs and it looks like he's doing the moonwalk, so I always do it, and everyone in the living room goes, hee hee. Maybe I have to be there. All right, Doug's first movie, the dog is growling at the door where the monster is behind. Doug gets home and he opens the door, and the monster gives the dog a heart-shaped craft, but it looks weird. It looks like a real heart. Like the dog and the monster are friends now, and then it pans down to the bloody corpse of Doug's mom, who just had her heart ripped out by the monster. Just kidding. Doug finds Patty and is like, the truth is about to come out, and you'll know why I stood you up, and I promise it won't happen again. And she goes, if it does, I will brain you. Abusive. Wonderful. So the press conference is obviously news. So Patty is going to bring Guy, because like his dad, he's a reporter, but just for the school newspaper. Those are some fun dots to connect. That's a nice detail. I appreciate that. Doug grits his teeth and is like, cool, totally bring Guy. That's a great idea. The police were alerted about the monster, and they have this house surrounded. It's Doug's house. And they storm the house and they kick down the garage door, but it was the wrong house. It was the wrong house. All of Roger's nerd friends are in the garage, and the police are like, so there's no monster here? And they go, not yet! And they all laugh like it was a dirty joke, and I don't get it. But I'm interested and amused. Oh, wait. I don't get it. Okay, Skeet is getting cold feet about the monster press conference. Doug has a daydream within his flashback about Patty, and when he comes out, Skeet is like, you were daydreaming about Patty again, weren't you? You always get that weird lazy face. That is some funny stuff. Lazy face, ladies and gentlemen. Doug's dad can't find the press conference on TV and thinks it's weird because it's supposed to be live. Doug goes outside, trips over a cord connected to one of the reporter's video cameras and like covering the press conference, but when it comes unplugged, the camera deflates. These aren't real reporters. These are like the police or monster hunters looking to capture the monster, pretending to be the press. Also, where do you get a realistic looking inflatable field camera? Give me a break. That so far is the most unrealistic part of this movie. Doug sees what's about to happen and hops up on the podium and is like, no, shut it down, it's not safe. Press conference over. And everyone's like, I knew he was a liar. Oh, and the nerd kids in the garage were building Roger's robot to kill the monster. That's what it is. They finish it and it's too small, and Roger shows them the plans. And he's like, look how big it's supposed to be compared to me. So the one nerd kid uses a shrink ray to make Roger small enough that he is scale to the robot according to the diagram. And that is hilarious. Roger wants them to reverse the debigulator and change him back, but that would require some sort of rebigulator, and that, you know the rest. Doug dresses the monster like a girl and tries to pass her off at school as an exchange student. She immediately drinks the paint in art class, eats the tray at lunch, and bonds with the other girls in the bathroom. Patty says, thanks for the Valentine, Doug. He goes, I didn't give you a Valentine. She goes, exactly, Duck buddy, she's gonna brain you. She calls him a liar and is like, and I know you're hanging out with that sexy exchange student. Guy comes in and says, oh, excuse me, Doug, I'm about to take Patty to Funkytown. I clearly missed something here. That's actually what he said. I definitely missed something. What's Funkytown? Doug says he thought this was the worst day of his life, but he would later learn that the bad stuff hadn't even begun to happen yet. Wow, this movie is relatable. They're in the forest with a monster and someone's coming, so they tell Herman to get in the water and he won't. So Skeeter and Doug argue about who should take off their pants first and get in the water. The monster shows them that the lake is so polluted the water burns. Suddenly the army shows up and they net Herman and they drag him away and everyone's screaming, and if this were Alf, it would all end here. Forever. Doug and Skeeter are going to get him back, though. We see a couple of cops in a car. It's like a cutaway. And the one's going, yeah, Superman is stronger than Batman, but Batman has superior technology. And that, my friends, is what every Marvel movie fan sounds like to me. The kids flag down the cops. They're like, quick, quick, go to this house, go to this house. And it's Mr. Bluff's house, the reporter. They know he's got the monster. And it's BB's dad, the guy that... Bluff and his army generals are talking about flushing the monster down after the cops leave. They want to flush him down the toilet to get rid of it. Gonna need a big toilet. I know where we can get one. Well, how much is that gonna cost? Less than you think. Doug's first movie has become Seinfeld. Doug has a nightmare where his bed becomes Mr. Bluff, and I'll bet Guy has a sit... That's fair. Probably better you stop that one. They find a future newspaper from Bill Bluff, and it claims that the monster trashed the school dance, so they had to kill it. But wait, the dance isn't until tonight, so he's going to set the monster up, and then they find a plan where then they're going to take the monster to Crystal Lake. I don't know what's happening, but Crystal Lake, nice touch. Everyone at the dance, including Roger and his robot, are there. Skeeter says, this certainly is good punch, eh, Elmo? To the kid guarding the punch bowl. Then Skeeter looks over and winks at Doug, and what did they do to the punch? What did they do to the punch? Patty shows up and Guy pops out and is like, hey, let's start dancing now. And she doesn't want to. Then he rage snaps on her like red flags girl. Imagine if Doug's first movie turned out to be like a low-key PSA warning young women about relationship violence and abuse and early warning signs. There's snipers all over the dance. Doug and Skeeter find the monster and they try to sneak him out the doors safely inside like a mini float display, but it gets spooked and busts out, and all the snipers are suddenly distracted by Roger's robot, and they fry it. The broken robot shakes and drags itself weakly forward. Roger, Roger, the snipers are like, kill it! We go to a wide shot of the school, and we hear the guns, and we see the strobing lights as they fire in the windows. Jeez, Doug's first movie. Doug and Skeeter get the monster to a clean lake, and they set it free. The jerk reporter is all in their grill, like BB's dad, and everyone's like, hey, maybe you should be more concerned about the pollution, do stories on that, you jerk. Snap! He scuttles away. Doug tried telling Patty the monster was real. She still doesn't believe him, then the monster pops up out of the water, and Doug's like, what's up, my man? And Patty can't believe it. The monster gives Doug a flower, and he's like, should I give this to Skeeter? And no, the flower isn't even for Patty, it's for the dog. The monster loves Pork Chop. Pork Chop jumps on the monster and they make out. This is chaos. The scriptwriters are just doing lines off their keyboards at this point. There's no other explanation. Doug is like, let's go to the dance. Patty's like, no, I can hear the music from here. So they dance together, alone, in the woods, on the dock. And you know these two are just like 3, 2, 1, Funkytown at this point. All right, moving on. Doug's top 10 questions finally answered by the creator. Number 10, where did you come up with the idea for Doug? From doodles, from the creator's darkest years of his life. For real, what an answer. 9, why is everyone a different color? The designer thought it would be fun, and it doesn't matter what color you are. Nah, all right, good job. 8, why does Quail Man wear underwear outside his pants? Because the creator also did this when he was a kid. 7, why does Skeeter make funny sounds? They're an extension of his strange personality. 6, why did Patty cut her hair? Because she... No, because she takes chances. Can't it be both? 5, how can I be an artist and draw a cartoon like Doug? Practice and don't give up. As a failed artist, those are both lies. 4, is Doug ever going to beat up Roger? The creator used to get beat up by a Roger of his own when he was a kid. Really? A dude with green skin and a leather jacket? So the answer is no. How do you draw Doug? Number 3, with a pencil. Just jokes. We get an art lesson. Doug starts with an upside down egg. 2, why does Doug always wear the same thing? Because he has a style that works for him. So many of these answers are just a cop-out. And 1, when is Doug gonna kiss Patty? It's a secret.
That's what I think about.
What do you think?
What we have is a concern about Curtis Anderson. His interviewing style is not the best. His personal appearance is not the best. I was wondering if the man has some kind of a hold over the channel that he's allowed to be employed for so long with the standards of journalism and personal appearance that he has. Thank you.